Once again, like a lot of my books, you will find of the family dysfunctionality of the other books. And this one is an adult family, the Aston family, which has a mother and a father, Stephen, and his wife, Pam, and they're in their 60s. And Pam has just been moved into a nursing home. She has dementia. Then there is their two adult daughters who are in their 30s. And then there is the younger wife who is also in her 30s and a similar age to the adult daughters. And the story kicks off when the father decides that he wants to marry this woman, even though his wife is still alive and his daughters are the same age. And the book kicks off with a wedding where someone gets murdered, and then we step back and we find out, all the reasons who got murdered and all the reasons why. I mean, in terms of creating a character, it has to be someone, there are so many complexities to it. It has to be someone who feels real and someone who is flawed and someone that you're going to take on a journey that will be a really challenging journey and that potentially they're going to come out different at the other side. I mean, that is definitely something that you want to do. And yes, by making things worse for them, that's what they say when you create a story, make it worse, which kind of makes us sound like sadists. But, there's absolutely something compelling about that. You want to see the human spirit tested, and you want to see that the character will survive that, because maybe that means that you will survive it too. I think that's human nature too. Well, then there's no story, is there? Because I think that my 12-year-old son said it best when he said, and I have a 12-year-old son, I also have a 4-year-old daughter, and so he has been put through the terrible experience of having to watch a lot of baby shows when he's a lot older than that. And I remember him saying to me, "Mummy, Miffy the movie," Miffy's this little bunny, I don't know if you have that in the States, it doesn't have a bad part. And I thought, and he was maybe 8 at the time, and I thought, isn't that funny that at that age kids recognise that there is a bad part of the story, that you meet a character and then they go on a journey and there's a bad part, and we know that as writers, there's the all is lost moment, whether that be, as you say, it's not always death or tragedy. Sometimes it's the heroine and the hero not ending up together. That's the worst moment, the darkest hour. And I suppose for 2-year-olds watching Miffy the movie, that's okay. But I think that for anyone who is looking for that journey, and that's what we all are looking for, if we're just going to watch people living their lives without anything challenging them, then that what are we doing here? I would say it goes into family dysfunctionality. It will be no surprise to hear. And in this case, it is exploring marriage, which I think is something that has been a really interesting thing to talk about with other married people during COVID. And here in Melbourne, where I am, we've been in a very, very long lockdown, about 250 days of one of the strictest lockdowns in the world. And so marriage stories are very interesting, let's say, right now. And I originally had this idea of a woman who murders her husband while in lockdown. That may have talked. My husband was a bit nervous about that. We're still married and, very happy considering our circumstances. But I then started thinking about what we would do for our partner and with the loyalties that we have. What would we cover up for them? What would we turn a blind eye to? And that all kind of culminates in the cliff. Yeah, it's an exploration of marriage, and it's, as usual, tied around a bit of a mystery as well.